Okay, in this video we're going to look at some more advanced ways of allocating to speed up the process. If we look at a typical residence care plan, you'll see on the personal details screen there is a field called allocation group. This allows you to group residents together, so when you're doing allocation, instead of allocating one individual resident at a time, you can actually allocate groups of residents at a time. Now you can assign the allocation group via this screen. However, what we advise to do, if you're going to work with allocations, to go to the Manage Allocation area to do your work. So to do that, you go to Home Status, Allocation Detail, and click on where it says Manage Allocations, and then enter your PIN number. When you're on this screen, you can then go to the Manage Roto Allocations option, and then from here you can access what we call on this screen the client groups, which are actually the resident groups. So the first option we would advise you go into is where it says Manage Client Groups. Here you can actually create your groups that you're going to assign to each resident, and you do that very simply by adding a group, putting a group name. So we can call the groups based on maybe the areas of the building that they're in, or it could be the level of need of the residents. So we do it on level of need. We'll say single carer residents, and then we'll have another group, and we'll call that one double carer residents. Should we get our spelling correctly? And with these allocation groups, you can actually assign colours to them. So we'll call the double ones an orange colour and the single ones a blue colour. And when we're ready, we'll then save those groups. And then we can then assign those groups to our residents. So for example, Jean Samuels, we can say she is a double carer. Olive Tandy, she is a double carer. Sheila will put into the single carer. John Stevens is a single carer, and Joyce Boxer will put into the single carer as well. So you can see how we've assigned for each of our residents a allocation group. So now we've got our residents grouped together, we can now create what's called Roto allocation groups. The Roto allocation groups allow us to define which of those resident groups we can use at different shift times. And it may be that you have a need to have a different set of residents to assist in the morning against a different set of residents that you might assist in the evening. So in this example here, we've already got some groups defined. It says day doubles. We can click on this design icon here, and now we can add which resident groups are in the day doubles Roto allocation group. Or we can have more than one resident group in here. And in the singles A, we're now going to add in our single carer resident group. So now we've got a Roto allocation group called day doubles, which has got in it the double carer residents, and we have a day singles A group, which has the allocation group single carer residents. And you can have as many groups as you want, and you could split up your residents into lots of different group allocations, which could be useful when you have different staff ratios on. And when you're happy, you can hit Save Changes. Close that window there. And when we go to regenerate our allocations, with regarding our shift here, the 11th of November day shift, we're going to add some more staff to this because this isn't complete. And now, if you can see on the right here, we've got the Roto allocation group option. We can actually pick those Roto allocation groups. So we can say that Chrissy Smith is going to look after the day doubles, as well as Jean Thomas, and Jen Jones is going to look after the day singles A, and Stephen Jones isn't going to be allocated. But when I create the allocation now, and I look at the full allocation, you will see it's automatically picked up that Jean Samuels, who is on the day doubles group, is been assigned to Chrissy Smith and Jean Thomas, and so is Olive Tandy. Whereas Sheila Jones and John Stevens, who are both day singles have been allocated to Jen Jones. You can now see that after we have done that allocation, the allocation issues are a lot less. We only have a resident here, Fred Jones, who hasn't been allocated, and some tasks. And to allocate those, you can simply click on the issue and assign them to a staff member. And that'll get rid of that particular entry. The objective is to make sure you clear all of these tasks from your allocation once it's been generated. It's worth noting that also on the home status screen is why you have a red cross against shift allocation now. And again, you can just deal with those tasks directly by clicking on them and doing the assignment of who's going to be doing them, and the system will move on to the next task.